Thanks for returning. Have you ever had the experience where you were presented with something and you didn't think it was yours, or you didn't think it was for you, but maybe for someone else? A couple years ago, a friend of mine, Wendy Stout, she's just an incredible woman, she passed on a prayer to me. And it's an ancient Hawaiian prayer. It's called Ho'oponopono. Anyway, she sent me this prayer. And she gave me a little bit of background on the prayer. But I was working with somebody at the time who was of Hawaiian descent. And I thought when I received this prayer, oh, how wonderful, what wonderful timing. This Hawaiian prayer that was used by the ancient people of Hawaii has come to me so that I can pass it along to this woman I was working with who was of Hawaiian descent. Prayer was sent to me again, the same prayer. And at the time I thought it was for someone else. So I passed it along again to someone else. Well, sure enough, when I started the book that I showed you, I think it was in the first story in the series, Navigating the Collapse of Time by David Ian Cowan, here it shows up in this book. And I said, okay, God, I get it. This is for me, okay? So I embraced it as something that the universe is giving to me to work with. And I have to tell you, this is one of the most powerful stories that I've ever heard, because it dovetails with a vision that I had probably 15 years ago about our justice system and how it will change and how it will look in the future. Anyway, real quickly, the ancient Hawaiian culture, when they had a person in their community who was suffering with illness, suffering with any kind of emotional problems, or even if it was a wanton criminal in their community who had done something just unspeakable in their community, they would gather in a circle as a community. All of them would gather in a circle around the person who's suffering. And they would search their souls to see if there was any chance that they had ever had a bad thought, a judgment, or participated in any manner in a negative way that would have supported the actions of this person. They would search their souls, and they would sit in this circle, and they would say this prayer. It's 4 short little sentences. The prayer is this: I love you, I am sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. I love you. We are recognizing that at a deep level we are one. We are mirrors for each other. Judging or condemning you would just be doing the same to me. You, in my perception of you, are a projection of my state of mind. Loving and forgiving you is also doing the same for me. The divisions between us are only in our imaginations. Although bodies and actions appear separate, the mind that is expressing through all of us is the same. All behavior is either an expression or a call for love. So love is the cause of everything and the cure at the same time. For the second sentence, I am sorry, not for anything in particular that you or I have done. That would make the offense real. But for together having decided to experience separation, and for all the suffering of all of us as a result of this mutual decision. For that, I am truly sorry. And I'm sorry for my contribution in this way to your particular experience of suffering, confident that in our awakening and accepting of forgiveness, we shall ultimately see all suffering washed away in an instant of healing and liberation. The third little sentence, please forgive me. not for what it appears I have done, but for agreeing with you to create this dream of suffering and separation. Please see me as an undiluted, invulnerable, eternal, and forever joyful spirit, as now I choose to see you. I see you as spirit who, through the majesty of your own creation and freedom, has created this opportunity to awaken and remember love. And I trust you to love me and forgive me my illusions. And then thank you for giving us both an opportunity to heal our relationship, to heal in my mind any misperception of you as less than divine, knowing this healing goes out to the one mind that affects everyone and everything in creation beyond what we can imagine. Thank you for joining with me as one mind and healing together. I embraced this, especially when I read David Ian Cowan's explanations of each one of those short prayer sentences. I notice myself going to some sort of judgment place or a place of negativity towards someone or some situation, or even if somebody just pops into my mind and there's nothing going on, I say prayer. It's fast, it's easy, and it matters. We all share a responsibility to each other. I would invite you to practice this prayer. I'm wearing a prayer shawl. This prayer shawl was given to me as a gift by a very dear, dear friend of mine back in Wimberley, Texas. A couple weeks ago, my husband and I were going to bed, and my husband said, let's watch a spiritual cinema video. We're members of spiritual cinema. So he took the computer into bed, and when I walked in the room to join him, this little door on my dresser, this little cubby hole where I keep my scarves and my socks and stuff, it was open, not just open a little, but it was ajar about this far. So I walked over and I closed it, and when I turned my back to walk over to the bed to pull back the covers to get into bed, I got into bed and I turned back around, and that door was open again. So I got out of bed and I walked over and I closed it again, and I stood there and made sure that it was, that it was closed. There's a little lip there that catches on a little metal thing that keeps it closed. So I turned around, I came back to bed, I got back in bed again, turned around, and there's the door, it's open again. So I got out of bed again, and I walked over, and I did the same thing. My husband said, honey, what are you doing? So we laughed about it, so I got into bed, and I turned around, and my God, there it is, open again, after I just closed it. And we got to laughing about it. So I went over, and I closed it. And I walked away, I slowly backed away from it, and I'm watching it to make sure that it's not going to open if I turn my back. So I'm walking away. I felt so silly. Dave, my husband Dave, was laughing at me. And I got into bed. I'm still watching the door. So now I'm in bed. I have not taken my eyes off the door, and it stayed closed. So my husband turned on the computer, and we started watching this, a couple short films on spiritual cinema. And we both got kind of sleepy, and we didn't think we'd be able to stay awake for the feature film. Anyway, my husband turned off the computer, and as soon as I turned to turn my lamp off beside my bed, and I turned back around, that door's open again. Something wants out of there. It's time for something to come out of there. So the next morning, I just removed everything out of that little cubby hole, and guess what was in there? The prayer shawl in the original package that Sandy had sent to me, wrapped in all this beautiful, colorful tissue paper, and I took it out and I put it on, and I've been wearing it almost every day. So this prayer shawl arrived only a day or two after I received the Ho'oponopono prayer for the third time. So it is sacred to me, and thank you, my dear friend Sandy, for gifting me, and I'm so glad that it reminded me that it wants to be in service. So thanks for watching and allowing me to share these two beautiful stories, and I'll look forward to seeing you again with the next video. Thanks for watching.